Okay, boxing fans, we've just all watched Groves versus Froch. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm in like a state of shock right now. I think that was possibly one of, if not the worst, UK boxing referee stoppages that I've seen ever, really, you know. Firstly, I'm going to ask the ultimate question on who was winning at the time of the stoppage. Paul, firstly, do you want to weigh in and say who was winning?
George Groves by a country mile.
Okay. Steve King, do you want to tell me who was winning at the time of the stoppage?
Yeah, I'd go well up, definitely. Handy lead.
Handy lead. Ryan, do you want to tell me who you had winning?
I thought I had Groves up by either 3 or 4 points. I can't remember, but it was 3 or 4 points. But it was a close fight. But I still thought Groves won more rounds.
Yeah, Joker Boxing. Do you want to, as the only American, and you know, do you want to tell us who you thought was winning?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Ryan, man. I thought he was Groves was up by at least possibly 4 rounds. Yeah, I thought he was winning decisively. I mean, it all depends on who you gave the swing rounds to, but I would say Groves was up for me.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, to be honest, the first round was 10-8 round. It was a close round up until the knockdown. I still gave that a 10-8 round. The second round was a swing round. I gave that a 10-9 round Groves because he was the underdog and he was controlling the fight. You know, for a large amount of time, Groves was controlling the fight, and you know, Carl Froch was in desperation mode throughout that fight. Now we're gonna talk about the penultimate question. Paul, do you agree with the stoppage?
Absolutely no way.
Why?
No.
Why?
Why? Because it's not a technical contest, it's a fight. At the end of the day, as soon as a guy gets punched a couple of times, you don't split it up.
Mm-hmm.
George Groves had Carl Froch hurt, wobbled, on the verge of getting stopped at least 4 or 5 times in that fight, from what I saw. The minute George Groves is even remotely hurt, it wasn't like he was massively hurt, in my opinion. Remotely hurt, the referee jumps in.
Yeah.
No, there's something not right about that at all.
Yeah.
Stinks. Absolutely stinks.
Yeah. Kingy?
Well, at the end of the day, you know, Groves was, when he was stopped, he was coming forward throwing a punch, that got blocked, and then he pushes Carl Froch off and he's stopped. How can you be stopped when you're coming forward? You're blatantly defending yourself because you're attacking your opponent, you know, it's just, and like Paul said, he had Froch in serious trouble, and obviously in the first round he did, and then other times he buzzed him so many times, but to stop it the first time that Groves was in trouble at all. I mean, I'm not saying Groves would have gone on to win the fight. He looked like he was in a bit of trouble. But you've got to give someone the benefit of the doubt when you give their opponent the benefit of the doubt 5 or 6 times. You know?
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Let me weigh in now, because I remember I think it was either round 3 or 4, Groves stung Froch with like 7 or 8 power shots. Why
Yeah.
was that not stopped at that point then?
Yeah.
Why was it not stopped then? Because, you know, Froch took 7 or 8 power shots and, you know, he didn't look in good shape, did he? I mean, Ryan, do you agree or disagree with the decision?
No, what, the decision to stop it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was terrible because, I mean, like Stephen just said, right, George Groves said at the end of the fight, he said, when they're sitting there and the whole crowd is booing, I've never seen that before in a British fight. I've never seen anybody in my lifetime, like a crowd boo the guy that they cheered all the way to the ring, compared to the booing that they gave to the, the opponent, George Groves, and then see the opponent get cheered like that. You know, I've never seen that before in a British ring. And like George Groves said, he said Carl Froch has got this warrior image where, his chin is so good. He always gets the benefit of the doubt. If he's rocked, even if he's rocked with a hammer, they give him the benefit of the doubt. Whereas me, I've got this image of being this chinny boxer. So as soon as I get hurt on one occasion, he got hurt in that fight on one occasion, like hurt, not just sort of, rocked around a bit, but actually hurt on one occasion in that round 9. They stopped, Howard Foster stops the fight. But like, was it Stephen who just said, what about in that round 6 when Carl Froch must have taken about 50 power shots to the head in round 6? Was that the round where he was also floored, or was that a bit early on?
That was round 1.
Yeah, so he was floored early on in round 1. He didn't look good after getting up from that. He didn't look too clever. Fair enough though. Let him carry on because this is a world title fight. This isn't ballet. round 6, he's absolutely pummeled by George Groves. Fair enough, he comes back from it and all that. Why didn't you stop the fight then? He's had 6 rounds of being pummeled by George Groves.
Exactly.
Then as soon as George Groves gets hurt in one occasion in round 9, time to stop the fight.
Okay, Ryan, I want to move on. I want to ask Joker. Joker, you're the American. Come on, what do you think? Was it a bad stoppage? Was it a good stoppage? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Steven pretty much hit the nail on the head, man. I think that, yeah, man, it just seemed like the person who was landing the harder, cleaner, and more effective shots this fight was George Groves. All right, and you can make the argument by the results that we were seeing that Groves had more power in there. He did. Like you said, man, he was actually able to drop Carl Froch. So if anything, I think that you give that guy the advantage, but they didn't stop the fight early on. They allowed it to keep going, and it could have arguably been stopped anywhere between the first 3 rounds because Froch was on spaghetti legs, and they kept it going. And then, like you said, the second that Groves, it just seems like he's hurting there, which we won't even totally hurt. I mean, you could speculate that it looked like Froch could have possibly stopped him. You can speculate that Froch was getting ready to come on, but we didn't get a chance to actually truly see George Groves in legitimate danger. You know what I mean? It was just such an early stoppage. Like, at least let that round finish, man. It was really a disgraceful stoppage, in my opinion.
Yeah. The only stoppage I can, I've already gave my view on it. The only stoppage I can liken this to is Enzo Macronelli versus Over McKenzie, number 1. Paul, did you see that fight?
I did see that fight. Yeah.
Which was worse?
Probably this one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some people might not agree, but probably this one. Because Enzo Macronelli was back up against the ropes when he was taking shots. George Groves was coming forward, throwing shots.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can someone not be fit to fight and not fit to defend themselves when they're actually throwing punches?
But yeah, when they're attacking.
Yeah. As Steven said, when you're attacking somebody, that's defending yourself.
Yeah.
Attack's the best form of defence.
Yeah. Steve, come on, Kingy, what do you reckon? Which was worse? You've seen the fights. Come on, which was worse?
I'd say they're about even.
Yeah.
I think the Over McKenzie one's after, but there wasn't much on the line for that. This is everything. This is George Groves' career on the line. Like, this is 2 world titles on the line for this fight. You've got to let it go. Like I said before, especially when the other guy's been hurt himself. And let's not get away from the fact that this was a fantastic fight, a brilliant fight, and it deserved a brilliant ending. And it's just disappointing that we didn't get to see it because that was a fantastic fight, definitely.
Yeah, Ryan?
Groves winning comfortably, but obviously then you've got Froch thinking Froch is going to come on later here, and we had the ending stolen off us basically, didn't we?
We did.
It's like in a film and after an hour and 15 minutes someone just cuts it off and says you're not seeing the end.
Yeah.
Ryan, go on. Have you seen both fights? Yeah. Which one was worse?
Yeah. Well, as Stephen just said, we've missed out on a Fight of the Year contender here because the ending was cut off. But yeah, I thought the McAnally stoppage was worse because it was round 1. So because it was round 1,
it was round 3. Round 2. Sorry, round 2.
Oh, round 2 was it?
Yeah.
Well, it was so early on that the guy didn't even, McAnally didn't even get a chance to, get into the fight. He didn't even get a chance to get into the fight. So I thought that was worse. But like Stephen just said, more was at stake in this one because very few people get to fight in world title fights. I mean, if you're a snooker player, or a darts player, or a football player, or any sport player, getting to a world title shot, or getting to a world final, or World Cup final, whatever, all of those things are your dream. So, and it's the same in boxing. You might only ever say fight 1 world title fight in your career. You might fight 5. You might even fight as many as say 20. But only 0.0001% of fighters get to do that. If that, it's a tiny fraction. So you've got to give these fighters the benefit of the doubt when they are, when they are competing on the highest stage of this sport. So you've got to have a referee in there. In other words, you've got to not have a British referee in there. You've got to have a referee in there from a country where their referees are bloody trained properly. So, I'm very off of British referees right now. You've got to let them fight. At the end of the day, yeah, it's a dangerous sport. Look at Mago Abdul Salamov, who's still in a coma. Yeah, But let's also be adultish about this, adult-like. He's an adult. He signed up for it. He paid his license. His family know what he does. He's a human being. He's allowed to make his decisions in life, and he chose to take up boxing. The same way other people choose not to because it's too dangerous, too difficult, and they're not capable of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But those who are capable of doing it, give them a chance to achieve greatness.
Yeah, okay. Joker, have you seen both fights or not? No. Okay. Paul,
Yeah.
we're going to move on now. I don't know what else to say, really. I'm so disgusted. I'm so disgusted.
I feel so bad for George Groves. George Groves is the man. Let's say that.
Yeah.
George Groves' props.
George Groves is the real winner, man.
So, yeah, who's come out better at this fight, Paul?
George Groves.
George Groves.
George Groves has proven he's a world-level fighter, and that he can give anyone in the super middleweight division, except maybe Ward. Because Ward's a different level to everyone, but everyone... George Groves is going to be world champion, man, and he's going to be a great world champion based off that.
Yeah, it's short and sweet, guys. Come on. Kingy, who came out better today?
It's got to be Milan Groves on it. Prove to everyone, what he's about, and that he's a warrior as well,
Yeah, yeah.
Let's give him his due.
Yeah. Ryan, who came out better today?
Groves, I mean, he was booed all the way into the stadium and he was cheered all the way out of the stadium. And it's just a shame that he's now got this 0 on his record, which doesn't matter. Let's one positive thing, which is ironic. He's got the O on his He's got the 1 on his record where there used to be an O. But I don't think that's bad because it's good to get a loss on your record to get it, to get it out of the, out of the way.
Yeah.
So you're not doing a Floyd at the end of your career or whatever. So, so that's a sort of ironic positive. But, he was on the way to a points victory. And let's also not forget, though, that Froch may have stopped him. He may have stopped. Someone just said to me a minute ago on Facebook, he said Froch was on the verge of a victory.
Yeah, but
let him get the stoppage.
Yeah, let him get it. Let him get it. Let him. This is what I tweeted. Yeah, I tweeted. Froch should have got all of the respect he deserves if he won the fight properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now he didn't win the fight properly. What happened was the referee stopped it stupidly prematurely. I mean, one of the most disgraceful stoppages I think I've seen, and
Froch should have had a few points taken off as well.
the referee. Okay, let's talk about the referee for a minute. Because I've got some more questions now. What do you reckon, Paul? Come on, tell me, man. What do you reckon about the referee's performance?
Oh my God, I thought I couldn't see a worse performance from, what was he called, Louis Pavon?
No,
against
yeah.
Povetkin and Klitschko. I think we've got a contender for the worst. If this one's not the worst performance, then it's definitely one of them. The only one I can think of that was as bad as this was that guy who refereed Klitschko Povetkin. It was so bad.
Pavon, yeah, exactly.
This was so bad. Groves did nothing wrong in my opinion in the fight. Froch was, I don't want to call it cheating, but he was dirty fighting. He was hitting Groves on the break. I lost count how many times he hit behind the back of the head.
Yeah.
The referee let Carl Froch get away with murder. He was up Carl Froch's arse. He was definitely a hometown.
I also think this whole fanboy thing we get in boxing, where if you're too obsessive with one fighter, people call you a fanboy, and usually rightly so. I think a lot of people who are, say, defending Froch right now are people who yesterday were saying Groves is a bastard, Groves is disrespectful, Groves is a scumbag, Groves is going to get knocked out in 3 rounds.
Oh, it's just embarrassed there, man.
Yeah.
Groves has just embarrassed those people.
Okay, yeah. Kingy, come on, man. Tell me. The referee's performance, how good was it, or how bad was it?
Because, it was constantly hitting on the break and behind the back of the head. And the thing is, he warned him twice, and then he did it again blatantly, and he separated the fighters, and I thought, well, he's going to take a point off here, and he actually told Groves off for using his head. You know what I mean? He forearmed him twice up against the ropes.
Yeah.
There's only one for that as well. It's like, how many offences does he have to do? I thought you only were allowed to do. I thought it was a warning, a final warning, and then a point off.
Mm-hmm.
So why has he been warned 4 times? It
was something else today. It was something else.
Apparently, I don't know this officially, but I think weren't wasn't Froch up on two of the judges' cards?
Well, we'll come back. We'll come up to that in a
think-
minute. We'll come up to that in a minute. But let's not speculate, okay? Ryan,
Yeah, okay.
referee's performance.
dreadful. But like I just said, British referees need to just,
Just
get
stop
back to
doing
fighting,
it.
to doing just local fights. You're not good enough to do world level fights.
Yeah.
You're not good enough.
They're not good enough. I mean, I agree totally. This was a terrible performance by the referee. This was a performance by the referee who must have been told who's going to win the fight. Let's be real. I love boxing, but the referee,
very fast force.
the referee was so biased in this fight. It was unreal. I picked Rose before the fight, and I knew Froch was the favourite to win, but I thought, Groves will make a good account of himself, and I got a lot of stick for it. Rightly so, because I'm picking the underdog to win, and I can take it. But having my glory taken away by some guy who's not even throwing punches is sickening to me. It is sickening to me. Joker boxing.
Yeah, man, I think the ref really, he did a terrible job. You're right, because if anything, like we all saw early on in the fight, if anybody was getting away with fouls, punching during clinches, it's typical Carl Froch. We've seen Froch do this his whole career. But, he was doing some excessive fouling in this fight, and the ref didn't even, blink at Carl Froch. I don't know. Like I said, there was some really debatable times where this ref should have stopped this fight, took control, and took some points away, and he just refused to do it. And like I said before, if there was going to be a stoppage in this fight, you could have made the argument that this fight should have been stopped early on in this fight. But like Groves said himself, he summed it up in the post-fight interview, okay? He said Froch was given the benefit of the doubt because he's looked at as the ultimate warrior. And in this case, George Groves is looked at as the guy who's chinny. And at the end of the day, you got to watch what's going on in the ring. And in the ring, man, I think George Groves was pretty much dominating this fight. And a big moment got taken away from him.
Yeah.
No one wins, especially not the fans. And this isn't a real victory for Froch, man. So he comes out looking bad, and we missed out on what was, like Ryan said, for me, this was the fight of the year, and we missed out on that.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to ask some really horrible questions now because I'm a bad man. Okay. Was Carl Froch exposed tonight as being overrated, Paul? I said let me just set the scene, okay, Paul? In the pre-fight prediction, I said, on Joker Boxing and my own, that Carl Froch is overrated. Was I proved correct today?
Oh, yes, definitely. In my opinion, again, we're not saying overrated means he's terrible or he's useless, but yes, he's overrated in the sense that he's not the Iron Man, he's not unbeatable, he can be hurt, he can be knocked down, he can be finished.
He's not Man of Steel, he's not White Superman, come on.
Exactly, yeah. George Groves beat Carl Froch in just every department, really, leading up to that joke finish at the end. Landed the better shots, was faster, was better with the jab, better skills. He made Carl Froch look absolutely dire at times.
Sounds like you're hating, Paul. What was your pre-fight?
No, I'm not
What was your pre-fight prediction?
Carl Froch, person. I'm hating the man because I feel very bad for George Groves, man. I'm very, very frustrated for him. I can't imagine how he feels.
Yeah.
I really can't.
Don't worry. I'm going to ask everyone else the same question.
He's had it all taken away from him. He worked so hard for that, and he deserved it, man.
Yeah.
And he's had it taken away, and I feel so angry for him, man. So angry for him.
Same question to Kingy.
Yeah, he is overrated. I've been saying it for a long time. I've been saying it to people all week that I know publicly in the street, and they all say I'm ridiculous and Froch is a good... I've always said he's not a boxer. His footwork is so bad, his balance is so bad, he's all over the place. To say he throws combinations and then his legs come half a minute later, he's so bad. And Groves just completely exposed him.
Yep.
His low left hand, he couldn't miss him with the right hand. Groves hit him all night with that right hand, and obviously shook him up a lot of times, and just ridiculous. Like Paul says, the referee hasn't worked his ass off for that his whole life. George Groves has. The hours these boys put in and the pain they put their bodies through for that moment, and to have it taken away is just disgraceful.
Yeah.
Let's remember what this means to the fighters themselves. They put their lives on the line for this, and their bodies, and they're away from the families and everything they put into it, and to have it taken away,
Yeah.
I just feel for George Groves, I really do.
Kingy, what was your prediction?
My prediction was a close fight, but Froch getting it on point.
So you're not hating, no?
I'm just upset that this keeps happening.
Of
you
course,
know,
I mean, the point is, of course, none of us are hating. We just see what we saw. There's evidence for it. If you're defending this, you're throwing them pom-poms in the air.
Yeah.
Come on, Ryan.
Exactly.
Ryan, what was your prediction, first of all?
I said Froch on points, and I thought Froch would win on points because I said that Groves would be elusive, he would box and move, which he did. He did box and move, but he didn't box and move how I thought he would. I thought he would box and move backwards, but what he actually did was box and move forward. So he was throwing all the best shots. He was throwing all the overhand rights. He completely outclassed Froch.
More importantly, Ryan, more importantly, is Carl Froch overrated?
Yeah, he's overrated, but like, was it Stephen or Paul who said that he's overrated, but that doesn't mean he's terrible?
Yeah, exactly. That means that. Let me just set the scene again, okay? For when I say someone is overrated, I mean they're not Superman. People put people on a stupidly high pedestal, and it just can't stick. You know what I mean? Golovkin was overrated when he knocked out Curtis Stevens because people said, even me, I said first 3 rounds. First 3 rounds. What happened? He went 8 or 9. You see what I mean? Because I overrated his power. Oh, did we overrate Carl Froch? Ryan?
So what did you say? Like, is he overrated?
Yeah, is he overrated? Is he overrated?
Yeah, he's overrated, but he's overrated in the sense that his fanboys, because it seems now that every boxer has got these fanboys who watch fights through sort of like tainted glasses.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's not bad because he's one of my favourite fighters. But just because he's one of my favourite fighters doesn't mean I'm going to say that he won a fight when he was clearly 4 rounds down against, or 4 points down against, say, George Groves tonight.
Yeah.
So he's overrated in the sense that he goes in against a guy who's 19-0 or whatever, who's just past prospect level. He's now like a contender.
He's a 5-1 underdog.
5-1 underdog. He should have been knocking him out. And he's not knocking him out because he's not quite as good as some people think.
Exactly. He's not as good as people think. Yeah. I mean, leave it at that, Ryan. He's not as good as a lot of people think. Joker boxing. Me and you have done at least 2 videos on this. You've done other videos, and you've done a lot. You put a lot of effort into this thing. Now, on your video, I got a lot of stick for saying Carl Froch is overrated. Right? Do you agree? I mean, no.
I'm gonna say you.
Did you agree that I said Carl Froch is overrated, yeah?
Yeah.
Exactly. The point is, what I'm saying to you, Joker Boxing, is, was I proved right or was I proved wrong?
Yeah, I think you definitely made your case. But here's what I'll say, though, and this is what I'll say. Overseas, like where you guys are in the UK, I will say that Carl Froch is overrated. But, I mean, if you look over here on a global perspective in the US, I would say he's underrated because not anybody's really talking about him over here. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we have different perspectives here. Now, what I'll say is what's unfortunate here, I mean, let's look at it like this. If Froch would have actually had a Jermaine Taylor kind of performance and came back and actually won, we'd have a different discussion right now, right? But the problem is, because of this bad stoppage, this referee has pretty much hurt Carl Froch's stock. And no matter what, George Groves has proven that he belongs on this level. He's proven that he was underrated. Okay, and like I said, Carl Froch was never allowed to prove that he's like the ultimate warrior that he's made it out to be. He didn't get a chance to actually prove it because of this BS stoppage. So that's the problem, man. I feel like where you guys are at, I definitely would say he probably is, massively overrated. And where I'm at, no one talks about him. So it's just unfortunately that the guy wasn't able to prove his worth in this fight, and nobody really comes out looking great in this fight, man.
I've got nothing else to say. I was proved right. I know, that's all I can say. I was proved right. I mean, I got shit from people in the UK because, I didn't basically suck off Froch's dick. No, that's what it was. I basically said, don't sleep on George Groves. George Groves will give a good account of himself. George Groves might even win. I'm picking George Groves to win. And I was robbed, I honestly feel I was robbed because he was definitely up in the fight on my card at least. He was up on everyone else's card here at least. Half of you guys at least picked Carl Froch to win, so that gives me, that gives me joy. maybe, I don't know what the official scorecards were, but they were bogus anyway. Man, I've been robbed. Well, let's leave it at this, man. Let's all just say, who was the real winner tonight? Paul? One word.
George Groves.
That's it.
George Groves and the fans who saw a great fight, but unfortunately, they had a great ending taken away from them.
Kingy, who won? Who was the main winner tonight?
The same. That's all I'm saying.
Ryan, who was the main winner tonight?
Groves.
Joker Boxing, who was the main winner tonight?
I'm gonna say George Groves and Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, well, yeah, you fucking nail on the head there. Eddie Hearn was the main winner tonight.
Video.
That's a whole other video. Thanks for listening, guys.